John Wilson has been a staple in the soccer community and the Charleston community since the 90s. Now he's taken his talents and experience to Charlotte, where he is the player engagement and welfare director for the Charlotte football team. I talk one-on-one with John for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. John Wilson, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
It's great to be here, Quintin, and it was good to run into you down in Charleston on King Street that day. Always recognize you with your hat.
Yes, I don't have it today. I wish I had it.
and that smile. So it was a pleasure to see you and be able to join you today.
I appreciate it greatly because, we know you here in the Low Country for your many years of service to the soccer community and the Charleston community with your position as the club ambassador for the Charleston Battery. Of course, you left last year to become the director of player engagement and welfare for Charlotte FC. And you just told me off camera that you all are getting back into the swing of things. So tell me, what's new, what's now with the Charlotte FC?
What's new? It's been about a year since I've been here. So moving to Charlotte after 24 years on and off of being in Charleston is something that is new. But I believe that this position was something that I was meant to do, as well as it was a step outside of a little bit of leaving an area that I enjoyed. Transition can sometimes be difficult and tough, even when you're pursuing something that's a passion for you. And this role as director of player engagement is something that is obviously new to our league, but it's something I've always been passionate about and always seen a need for.
When it comes to player engagement, John, what are the players in need of right now?
Players in need of right now? This role for me, what motivated me to pursue this role was because when I played as an athlete, I needed more off the field than really on the field. We're talking about financial literacy. We're talking about identity of an athlete as not just an athlete, but as a person. How do you handle the media? How do you handle the day-to-day things that are not on the field? Having knowledge and being able to handle those things can be the difference between a player maximizing their ability as an individual and helping the team collectively. I think we sometimes see a player on the pitch, on the court, on the field, and we just see the athlete. We cheer them. Sometimes we boo them, but we don't see the outside, sometimes stresses that they have. Many of our players have families.
Yes.
So after training, a hard day of training, they're not just going home necessarily and taking a nap. They're spending time with their family, their wives or partners. So it's a wide range of those things that players need to be successful.
And you just answered all of my answer, my question right there with that answer, and I really do appreciate it. So what are those tools you have right now to help those players actually maximize their profile and their level of attention off the field?
For us here at Charlotte FC, we do a very good job of utilizing our partners. So, for example, I was just on a call today with Ally to work on some financial literacy programming. Even within the club here, we have some very qualified and knowledgeable individuals in regards to social media training, a communication, if you are a player, how do you answer questions? What if there's a question that is one that you may not want to answer? How do you handle that? So we have those resources here in place, along with Major League Soccer. They have done a good job with supporting the players and the teams with resources. And the resources are around us. I just think we have to bring them all in to support the players. And I think we have to meet the players where they are. Not every resource is a fit for every player, because just like me and you, we're different, correct? So maybe what I need is not the same as what you may need. And here, what one of our goals is to really get to know the individual player. I have seen and I have experienced where there's good-hearted individuals within clubs, even clubs that want to provide a resource to a player. But how can you provide the right resource without really knowing what that player needs? And in sports, we do this on the athletic side. We develop an individual development plan for that player. And the way we're able to do that is we know their strengths and weaknesses as an athlete. So we need to do the same thing for those players off the field.
This might be an irrelevant, silly question, John, but what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses when it comes to player engagement as a whole?
The strengths and the weaknesses. I think I don't want to call it a weakness, but this role is new to the league. If you look in the NFL, college sports, they have this role. I think it is needed because it can bridge that gap between the technical side and the front office. As I mentioned earlier, I needed someone that I could go to just that I trusted, that if I needed something. And I wasn't always going to go to the coach. And coaches are busy.
Yeah.
Let's make no doubt about it. We're in the game of winning. And I found myself sometimes when I needed that support and help, I wouldn't ask. I feel like I didn't want to bother the coach. I didn't want to go to the front office. So I don't know if that's a weakness or it's just more that the league and the clubs are starting to realize we need to have these positions in place. I think the strengths, I think I kind of alluded to it just there, is that now it hopefully will help the technical staff, the coaching staff, to be able to concentrate more on the field. It's going to be able to allow the players someone that they can come to if they need something. And I think it is helpful in my role that I have 15 years professional experience as a player. And I was thinking about this the other day as I was kind of preparing for this. I had a lot of ups and downs in my career, some tough times, which is what some people may not see. And at the time when I was going through those tough times, I was like, wow, like I don't wish this on anybody. But those tough times and those adversity, that allows me now to connect with the players. And I can look back now and say, I am thankful that, not necessarily thankful that I went through that necessarily, but that I made it through it. Because when I sit down with a player, I can speak to them on what it's like to be released from a team. What it's like when you know that your last game is coming up and what am I going to do? What's my next profession? What it's like to have to do an interview after a loss, what it's like to manage your money. So I can have these conversations. And from there, I may not have all the answers, which I don't. But when we have these resources in place, I can guide them to those trusted individuals, those trusted organizations to support them.
You know, John, as you were just talking just a few minutes ago, I thought about this, but now that you are obviously director of player engagement for Charlotte FC, what else are you seeing that a lot of the players are actually missing now that they're off the field, off season and things like that?
Missing. I could give you my opinion on what I think they need. The growth of the game here has brought, I think, more pressures. Social media. I really think the players now need those trusted individuals that can help guide them. They need the mentors. I think the American player, to be quite honest, has to understand that at at the pro level, this is a job. When you get here, yes, we're great to have you, but we expect things from you on and off the field. And if you haven't experienced that as a young player, it can be tough to get acclimated to the environment. And I don't know if that's a missing thing. I just noticed that with some of the young players, and I'll be honest with you, with some of the American players. To me, it's about, yes, you have the opportunity, you got here, but you still have to have that hard work, that character, and you got to sacrifice what you did in the past got you here, but what you do now and in the future is what's going to be the difference, whether you make it here or not. Me personally, I don't care about how many likes you got on your Instagram. I really don't care about your highlight videos. I care about your character, resilience, and I want you to have fun. But there are sacrifices, and the player has to own that, not the parents, not the agent,
Right.
the player. And that's what I think a little bit is, and I know I went a little bit of a circle here, but that's what I think is missing with some of the young American players. If they could see how our our first team trains, if they could see guys like Ashley Westwood and Nathan Byrne who've been doing it for years over in Europe, it's amazing their mentality and their discipline, and they're consistent. And I stress to young players out there, there's not much that's new. You could watch those two players, watch how they show up to training, watch how they lead, not only with their voice, but in their actions. And if you're a young player, you can mimic that. There's no secrets. And I don't know if that answered your question, but that is one of the things I'm passionate about, to help players maximize their ability on the field and off the field.
Mm. That brings me to my next question. What is your deep understanding of each player's unique personality and learning style?
For me, when I got here, at first I was contacting everybody. All right, I want to get all these tools. I got all these things for players. I'm going to give them to them, and
Yes.
they're going to love me and embrace me. And I realized, well, I don't know these players. They don't know me. And what we've tried to do here and what I try to do is have a conversation with every player. You notice I say conversation. I didn't say
Right.
a meeting.
Right.
If you say meeting to me when I was playing, my brain is like, okay, I'm not going to let down my guard. What's this really about?
Right.
But but that conversation is just to get to know the player.
Yes.
I don't have a pen and paper in front of me. I want to get to know them. I wanted that as a player. I had a coach by the name of Bob Gansler, and when I was this was when I was in Kansas City. They were the Wiz back then, the Wizards, and I struggled with a little bit of anxiety. And I'll never forget Coach Gansler coming up and he goes, "You from Seneca, South Carolina?" I go, "Yes." And he knew about where I was from, my high school. And then he started to have this conversation with me. And it just allowed me to relax and feel that, you know what, like this is someone that I can trust. I can play for. I think that is missing sometimes today. And we have a diverse group here at Charlotte. I think the MLS is probably the most diverse league in the world. But how do you motivate players? Like you, I think it's I don't know if it was our head coach who said it, but it's something people talk about is, yes, you treat all players with respect. You have a foundation of how you are going to develop them, but to inspire them and to develop them, there's different ways. And if you know that individual well enough, you can find those key pieces to help motivate them. And that's what I need. I need someone to get to know me, get to know why I play, why I'm doing this. So then when they talk to me and they try to explain maybe what they want out of me, they can do it in a way that I not only understand it, but it allows me to take action to do it.
And what key pieces have you found thus far, John?
In regards to key pieces, in regards to,
Oh yeah, trying to find out who these players really are.
yeah, it's really, you have to be present.
Yeah.
Being present is key. And I recently had to remember that because I've been in my office for a good bit. And I said, I need to be present. When I say present, it's not that I'm around the players and just talking all the time. It's just so they can see me and know that I'm there if they need me. Then as well, those are the moments is that you have the opportunity to have these, some people call them like the water cooler conversations. I saw you on the street, right?
Right.
You were present, I was present, and here we are. I see that as the same with the players. It could be at breakfast, it could be at lunch, it could be as I'm walking to the pitch. And those I think are the key times for me to show up, to have those some conversations and to see how they interact on the pitch and off the pitch. I know some players when they see me, I had one player say, "Yeah, you're just so relaxed and laid back." And I said, "Well, I wasn't always this way, but I've worked on that so that I can be able to build these relationships with the players." It doesn't mean that everybody's going to be my best friend. That's not possible. But I want them to trust me. I want to build that trust so if they ever need something, that I'm there for them. And I'm going to be honest with them. That is key too. I needed someone to be honest with me. It doesn't make sense for someone to be in this role and they're not honest with the players. I think once you're not honest with someone, you lose the trust of that player. But it could be a piece of information that if you're not honest about, that could be the difference between them becoming going from being an academy player or a second team player to a first team player to an international player.
Yeah, absolutely. You have your goals in place, John. So what more resources do you need to really fill that puzzle that you want to establish for these players and player engagement?
Um, Resources. Sounds like I need to go to my boss, but just 'cause I think the resources are there in this city. We
Yes.
have some great partners, and I think now it's tapping into those partners, sitting down to let them know this is what our players need, and this is their return you're going to get when those needs are met, not just on the field, but off the field. I do believe at MLS clubs, if you could see our facilities here, we have all four of our academy teams in one building. We have our first team. We have Crown Legacy, which is our second team. We have our sporting side. We have the front office side. We're all in one building. So we have all of these athletes, these quality players that are here. I would say that we probably need some more individuals. I would say that could be around the players a bit more in what I'm doing. because once again, presence is key. But the club has been great. I think what we're doing here, I think in the future you're going to see some not only quality players but quality people.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Where do you see player engagement in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think it's going to be a very integral part of recruiting players. It's going to be a very integral part of developing players off the field, on the field, because you have to remember we have a 16-year-old who's a first team player, and we need to not only to continue to develop him technically, tactically, mentally, but also character, values.
Yes.
And I see in the next 5 years, individuals in my role are going to be a very integral part of that. It's going to be part of the recruiting process to our academy. It's going to be part of the recruiting process for our second team, our first team. And I hope there are more individuals like myself that can bring their knowledge and experience to a club. And I believe that I'm thankful that the MLS has seen this as a key piece to growing the league, growing the players in the clubs. We're still in a people business, right? It's a people business, and we need those people that can step into this role and create good players and good humans. And it can be done. I think sometimes people think in professional sports that you can't do both, meaning help develop the needs off the field, the personal needs off the field and on the field. And yes, we're in a business where we got to win. And I'll use this word, players are seen, I'll use the word assets, but we love all our players and our assets, and we want to see them succeed. We want to see them succeed here, and even if they leave as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're wishing you all the best of the luck in Charlotte. For now, John Wilson with Charlotte FC. Thank you for your time. And again, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you.
You're welcome.